told me that you were scared to start a YouTube channel. The first thing I'd ask you is, what are you scared of? What's the big fear that's holding you back from starting? So, for example, are you afraid that you won't know what to say? Are you afraid that you'll run out of topics to talk about or run out of ideas of what to talk about? Are you afraid that other people will see you, like your family and friends, and what opinions they'll have? Are you afraid that you won't be consistent enough? Are you afraid that you don't have the right tools or you don't know what to do? So the first thing I'd ask you is, what is the fear and what are you really afraid of? And then we're going to talk about how to address those fears and what you can do about them. But then the first thing I tell you is just be clear on what's the goal, what's the purpose, why do you want to start a YouTube channel? Why is it something you think you need to do as opposed to maybe like being on other social media platforms? Like, why YouTube? Is it because, everyone is saying that's where the money is, or, that's the quickest platform to like build a community on or like build a following on? Because it's not. But, are you feeling some kind of societal pressure that, if you want to be taken seriously, maybe as a content creator or a business owner, that you need to have your own YouTube channel? And that's, that's the reason that's making you feel like I need to start a YouTube channel right now. So the first thing I tell you is, yeah, just be clear on the goal. And if it's from a pressure perspective, I would say not necessarily that you need to give it to that pressure, because when picking your social media platform, at least what I tell my students is that pick one primary platform. And usually the decision for that should be based on where you spend a lot of time. Like, what platform do you mostly consume content on? Because that's the platform that you'll intrinsically understand, what type of content works well there, what type of content people expect on that platform. And then so you, without really having to think about it, you'll already be in tune with, how to structure your content. You'll already have good ideas because you're already consuming so much more content on that platform. So if you're already on YouTube consuming content a lot and you feel like that's the style you want to go with, then that's fine. That's a good enough reason to want to start a YouTube channel. But if you're doing it because, other people are saying that's where the money is at, you want to make money from AdSense, it's such a long journey before you make any money, like from AdSense or like within the YouTube partnership program. So that's not, something that you'll do and then quickly get into it. So if that's the reason, that's not a good enough reason. And also something I tell my students is, especially like when you're starting a YouTube channel or, any social media platform that you're on, like you're starting an account, and the goal is to promote your business and, give your brand visibility, then you'll be making money, or you can structure it in a way and you can do things in a way that you'll be making money from your business way before, you're getting on the YouTube partnership program. So now let's talk about the different fears and how to overcome them, or like what I tell you so that, because I think a fear can feel so big when, it's just in your mind. But then when you break it apart, then you start to see, okay, it's not such a big thing. It's actually manageable. Like if I just do this 1, 2, 3 things, or follow this 1, 2, 3 steps, or have this one mindset, then the fear doesn't seem like such a big thing or such a big deal anymore. So let's talk about the fear of, I don't know what to talk about. So especially if maybe your goal is, let's start from here. If your goal is to just have fun and to kind of just test the waters and see where it could go, then you don't really have to think about what to post. Like, it's not such a big deal. I would just say, like, what do you care about? Like, what do you know that you can talk about? Or what topics do you care about? What are you currently learning? What have you been learning for the past 1 year, 2 years? And I had someone say that, usually, especially if you want to like build a business, like teaching people what you already know, then think about the things you've been doing or the things you've been learning the past 2 years in your life. And then, talk about that in, from a perspective of like, what would you have liked to know the you from 2 years ago when you were starting that journey? What would you have liked to know that you know now so you can share with someone who is in the shoes you were in 2 years ago? I hope that makes sense. If you're just doing it for fun, if you're just testing the waters, I'd say just pick 3 to 4 topics that you already know so much about, or you're already so in tune with that it's not hard to kind of put a few sentences together, put a few thoughts together, and then, talk about that. And usually, you can just search like whatever topic you have in mind. Just try searching on YouTube and see like what questions people are asking on that topic, or you can use a tool like Answer the Public, or Google Trends, and then just see what other questions like are coming up. What are people typing? What do people want to know? You can also use like Reddit, you can use Instagram, you can use TikTok. TikTok is really good for this. Just getting like content about like based on, a particular search phrase or a particular phrase that you're thinking about, like how to lose weight. Like if it's about how to lose weight, like what questions are people asking about how to lose weight? And you can get easily like 4 or 5 questions. And if you're in a position to answer them, then each of those questions is a topic and a video in itself. So that's what I tell you. But if in the context of like what's the goal and what's the purpose, and for you it's because you want to build a business and you want to increase visibility for your brand, that's what like I'm doing. Then what I tell you is to just same thing, like what are people searching about, like same platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Answer the Public, Google Trends, like on that topic, what are people asking about? And then even like with your own, maybe if you have like other clients or students that you teach or people that you interact with, like what do your friends ask you about that topic? Like for me, something like my friends ask me is, like, I don't know what business to start, or what can I start that won't take a lot of time, or what business can I start that won't require so much money from me, or, like I've been in employment for so long, I don't know, what business skills do I have, or, that type of thing. So like think about, or like even just from your own life and the questions that people are asking you, your friends are asking you, your family are asking you based on what you already know, like what are you already answering for people. And then something else is also look at the bigger accounts, and you can do this like on Instagram. Look at the bigger accounts in your niche or in that industry, or, revolving around the topic that you care about, and like what content are they creating? Like what questions does their content answer? That would usually be a big indicator of like what people want to know, because for a lot of like the bigger brands and the bigger businesses, like they spend like a lot of money actually like going into researching like what topics people want to know, what questions people are asking. So again, those will be clear signals about like what questions people have. And then also look at the content that they've created, like look at the comments. Like, yes, they've maybe talked about, one particular thing, but what additional questions do people still have? Like, what are people still asking about? Like, they've not completely covered. Or also, like, you can look at, yes, this person has taught on this topic or subtopic or whatever, but then maybe from your perspective, there's something they left out, or maybe with the explanation they gave, like you felt like something was missing. So you can do the same, but then put your own twist on it and use your own examples. And because everyone has their own way of explaining concepts, everyone has their own way. Again, even as the viewers, we interpret or we understand things differently. So, two people can talk about the same thing, but for me, I'd prefer like person A, and for you may prefer person B's explanation. So, don't feel like, oh, already so many people have talked about this topic, there's already so much content, because at the end of the day, we're all on social media to connect and to feel like, we have a voice, or like we're not alone. Like if you have like a particular challenge you're experiencing, like I don't know how to edit, YouTube videos, or I don't know how to edit, and you want to feel like I'm not alone in this, like other people are also asking this question, and then you want to connect with someone who maybe also, started out like not knowing how to edit, and then now they're really good at editing, and maybe they can, show you how to do it if you're only spending maybe like 30 minutes to, an hour, like maybe like 3 days every week. And then like over 3 months, like you'll see like noticeable improvements, or like you'll be really good at editing. So that's the thing. That's what I tell you. And then if you're afraid that, maybe you won't be consistent enough, if that's the thing that's stopping you from starting a YouTube channel, then what I tell you is you could start by, first of all, being realistic about like what your life looks like right now, like what are the responsibilities that you have, and then how much free time, do you have? Then within that free time, realistically, like how quickly or how often can you create content? And creating content, so there are different steps with creating a YouTube video. So like for me, like what I'm doing, like I'm recording. So there's the recording part of it. But then before I kind of like knew, okay, so this is the topic I'm talking about. And then I didn't want to like script it completely because I wanted to kind of go with the flow, because that's the type of content that I enjoy watching. So I was like, that's more of what I would like to create. And then I also want to give myself the flexibility to be creative in the moment and to let it flow. But that's me, because I feel like, things come out better that way, or I enjoy the challenge of like being creative in the moment. So I didn't want to fully like script out like what I'm going to say, but I just have like I wrote down the key points that I want to make sure that I talk about in this video. And then within that, I'm free to kind of move in between all the points, as long as by the end of the video I've covered everything. So that's part one for me. So part one actually is, thinking of the content or the title ideas, and then like doing the scripting or the research. Depending on the type of video you're doing, you may need to do some additional research before you can like jump on the camera and record. And then there's the recording part, and then after recording there's the editing. So with the editing, depends on how simple or complicated, but not necessarily complicated, that you want to make it. So like for me, what I like to do, at least like what I'm doing right now, because I'm recording from my phone, and I'm using the back lens of my phone, so that because that's a higher quality than the front facing camera. So like what I'll do is like I'll upload this to my computer, and then with the editing we'll just be like cutting out the pauses and maybe any rambling that I did in between where I was kind of trying to find my words, because that happens. So even when you're planning to like just the recording bit of it, is like, even if it's going to be maybe like a 20-minute video or a 15-minute video, I don't know how long this one is going to be, we'll see. It takes a bit longer. Like the recording will take at least maybe 30 minutes for that type of video, depending on like even your mindset when you're recording. Like, are you ready to go? Are there any interruptions? Yeah. So like with the editing for me, so like will be to kind of remove the pauses, any in between pauses, any ramblings where I didn't know what I was saying, or I said something and I was like, no, I think I can say that a bit better. Let me say that again. And then also improving the quality of the sound. So like getting rid of background noise, because like, I'm in a house with other people. I have a young kid in the house. So, like I need to kind of remove the background noise. And then I may add a bit of text on screen, just so that your eyes have more to pay attention to than just me sitting here talking. Usually that's pretty much it. I don't like doing too much, because again, that's what I am able to do right now, and that's my preferred style. Like even with the YouTube videos that I like watching, like a lot of them is, there's that like low effort feel, even though it's not low effort, but that's what I like. So that's what I like consuming. So that's what I'll create. Like that's my instinct. From instinctively, that's what I'll want to create, because that's what I enjoy. So that's with the editing. And then after the editing, now there's the uploading to YouTube, and then, finalizing your YouTube title, creating your thumbnail, the description for the video, including any timestamps, any keywords, that type of thing. So it's not just, it's a lot. Like there are many steps to get to the end goal. And this is like with YouTube specifically. So if the question or the thing that's holding you back is that you're scared you won't be consistent enough, then what I'd tell you is to have like your first maybe 3 or 4 videos like completely done start to finish. Like, you already have the ideas, you've already like scripted them out to the level that you need, so that you can show up like, with confidence on the camera. And then also you've already recorded them, you've already edited them, like you've already prepared, the description for the video, the titles, the thumbnails, everything is ready to go. And then I would say like post the first one, don't like post all 4 of them because then you'll feel like, okay, then I have to go back to step 1 and create more videos. I'd say like post the first one, and then like schedule the other ones depending on how frequently you want them to go out. For most people, they do like once a week, depending on how much capacity you have, depending on how long that process takes you from start to finish. depending also on how much free time you have. So just be realistic, like what's a schedule that you can stick with for like 3 to 6 months. Like not just this month, I have time. No, like think a bit longer term, because YouTube is a long term game. Think a bit more long term. Like, between now and like the next 3 or 6 months, like realistically, what can my schedule allow? So that's what I tell you. And then if again something you're thinking is, I don't have the right gear, I don't have good lighting, just start where you are. And I know you've probably had that being said so many times. And I'll talk about another closely related fear, which is like, what will people think? So with the gear, I don't have the right gear, I don't have the right setup, I'm not ready. It's like, no, just start where you are. Start with, you already know so much about at least one thing that someone else, somebody somewhere, what am I saying? That somebody somewhere else would love to know. I don't know if that will be part of it or that's a rambling that will be taken out. We'll see. But there's something, you do have value, you do have skills. So don't feel like you don't have anything to say if at all you really want to start like a YouTube channel. And then also gear is just the best lighting you can get, just natural lighting. Like if there's sunshine, that's your best bet. Or if you have like a room that gets really bright with the light, like even the lights in the house, then use that. And then with sound, there are a lot of different, like even free tools that help to like boost the audio quality and like remove background noise. Like Adobe has one, they have a free one. And then other editing tools also have, similar features built in, like Canva has one. And like what I'm using now, I'm using Riverside. Riverside also has that. So yeah, and then, just try like film at a time of the day when maybe it's quieter if you're able to. If you're not, then, those tools I've mentioned can help you like remove any excess background noise. And then just start, like I'm saying, like I'm recording this, from my own, just my phone, because a lot of phones nowadays, like the camera quality has really gone up. So don't feel like, again, like I'm not ready or I don't have enough. No. And then on the question of, what will people think? What will they say? This one, I don't know how you're going to take it, but in the beginning, you won't get that many views. And that's okay, because you kind of want to first get in the reps and like, figure out, okay, so like what system works for me? Like, how do I come up with content ideas? How do I script them out? Like, how do I record? Like, how do I edit? What am I using? It will take some time to kind of like get a good rhythm going with that. And you won't get it until you start. Like nobody will come, like you can, someone can give you like a perfect plan to follow, even like what I've said. Like you could be like, oh, actually, Linda, you're making a lot of sense. That's a perfect plan. Like that's what I'm going to do. But until you do it, like it's just a plan. Like you have to do it for it to become like actually something that makes sense and something that works for you and like a complete system. And because different things will work for different people, different preferences. So just start and don't really feel like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know how it will look. Just start and post your first video. And if you really feel like like I'm scared, like what people will think, then just create the video, like go through all the steps, create, your first 3 videos or your first 4 videos, and then just watch them back yourself and see, okay, so like, what do I notice? Like, was I slumping my shoulders? Was I like facing the complete opposite direction? Was I not loud enough? I don't know, like you'll notice those things. And then, so, don't let the fear of something hold you back, because once you do it, that's when you actually know. So like, what was the fear that was not real? And then what's the real thing? Like, what's the reality? Okay. So that's what I tell you. So just at least do like 3 or 4 videos, at least 3 or 4 videos. And you don't have to post them. You just have to record them and then kind of start to get the hang of it and see yourself like, and then what improvements can I make? And then even when you start like posting your videos, like with the analytics, don't feel like, oh my gosh, like no one is watching, or, because that's another fear, like what if nobody watches? So you may not get so many views in the beginning, and that's normal for everybody. That's okay. That's fine. But what I want you to do is look at the data and look at it not from the perspective of, I'm not good enough or I don't know how to show up on camera. It's like, no, pay attention. Like, is it do you have like a low retention rate, which means that people are starting to watch, but then they're quickly, like clicking away or going to something else? So the problem there could be that what the topic was and the thumbnail and the expectation that it created, like when they started watching your video, it was like, nah, this is not what that is. And this is just clickbait. So they clicked away. Okay. Which means that that's what you need to improve. You need to improve like how you've worded your title and what your thumbnail, and then also at the beginning of your video, like, are you quickly, convincing somebody that what I said I'm going to talk about and what I showed on my thumbnail, that's actually what you're getting. Like, you need to, like, within the first 30 seconds, you need to start delivering on that promise. And then if the other thing is like people are not clicking on your video to even watch it, then maybe the title could be something they're not interested in, or it's not something they feel like is an urgent need for them, or it's not something they're thinking about, which means you're kind of posting content on topics that people are not searching for. So that's another red flag. Like, if you want, to at least get your content seen by the first couple of people, then you need to be posting about, or the best strategy, like when you're beginning, is to kind of focus on topics and questions that people are actually searching on. Like, there's an interest to get information, so that yours is one of the videos that, will show up when someone is looking for those answers or that type of content. And then even with the thumbnail, again, is it convincing enough that, oh, actually this person could know what they're talking about? Or, is it enticing enough? And the thumbnail game, I mean, there's so much, I've even seen like, videos that's like breaking down, what makes a good thumbnail. But again, until you're in it and until you're doing it, and, because at the end of the day, I'd still tell you to like find your own unique way of doing it and find your own style, something that's recognizable for you. And before you get there, you have to put in the reps. So don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to, get it wrong, quote unquote. Just start where you are, start with what you know, and yeah, it will be worth it. And just give yourself grace, allow yourself to go through the process, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to, look silly on camera. But then if especially your goal is like building a presence for your brand and like building a business off of, an online audience, then just start. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.